Good afternoon, YouTube. We are back. It's been a long time, a long, cold winter, but we actually got a lot done on the Panda. Unfortunately, I didn't film all of it. Well, I didn't film basically all of it. So, today I'm gonna give you an update. I'm gonna tell you what's happened to the car, everything that's gone on, and I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised. So, I'll give you a little bit of history of the car. I'm just gonna sit down here. So I bought this car back in 2018, and well, it started off like any old project. You remember, you know. I did all the little bits and bobs that needed to be done. You know, like wheel bearings and drive shafts and all that sort of stuff that needed to be done. So I actually dailied this from 2018 all the way to basically, hey doggo, here's the mascot, needs a little pat. But anyway, yeah, I bought the car and I dailied it for a very long time. So I went to work every single day, up until basically a month ago. And so it started off with just the engine. So good, as I said, wheel bearings, drive shafts, all that stuff to just make it drivable. And then an opportunity came where my mom was actually getting rid of her old car, which was a Fiat Punto 1.2 liter, and we were just taking it to the scrapper. So I just decided, you know what, that engine could come back handy. So that's what we did. We just dropped the engine out of that car. I think I've got a picture of it too, and just sat there for about a year. I think about a year. And then at a certain point I was kind of waiting for the MOT to come up so that I could swap the engine afterwards, but because of COVID and everything got like postponed, and so I was like, to hell with it, I'm just gonna drop the engine. So we took the engine out, we dropped it in. It was quite a hassle because I still wanted to retain the catalyzer of the Punto, and that meant that I had to move the radiator on the outside. So yeah, we did that. We moved the radiator and modified the exhaust so it would fit. And basically, yeah, I started redoing all the electrical system. Yeah, so basically that's how it started. We dropped that engine in and we tuned that for a little bit, and then once I got the time, I did the exhaust manifold to fit the turbo. That was quite a hassle, because fitting that turbo underneath there, that was really complicated. It was a really tight space. You'll see what I mean afterwards. It's it was quite interesting, let's say. Anyway, we got the turbo in a position where it would fit, and that I was happy about, and took about I would say about 8 to 16 hours of welding, and we got a manifold out of it. Once that manifold was done, that was basically the most important bit. And once that was done, it was just smooth sailing, pretty much, down to a turbo Panda. It was quite interesting to make it. I went to 3 different revisions, stuck them together with tape at the beginning just to make sure that they would fit, and thank God that I did, because they didn't fit the first time, and nor did the second time. But on the 3rd revision, I got it, so I tacked it together, fitted it back to the car to see if it fit, and it was it looked quite awesome. So welded it together, and yeah, that was the main important part, because after that the turbo was mounted, so we could fit everything else that needed to be done. So oil feed, oil return, turbo feed, inlet, sorry, turbo inlet, turbo outlet, from the cold and the hot side. So everything could be then mounted once once that turbo was, you know, in a fixed position. So once we got that done, it was quite, you know, it took me about a week to fabricate all the parts, you know, modify the intercooler. um, it actually, the intercooler piping was just one weld that I had to make to complete from the turbo to the throttle body. Um, I just had to do one, where there are actually two elbows slightly bent on an axis, but other than that, that's it for the intercooler piping. The intercooler only had a bung, you know, like a temperature sensor that I had to fit. That was done. Then the turbo oil feeds, I got it done by a company here in Italy, and that was pretty quick. And the turbo drain, again, welded, made myself a flange and welded tube, and that's it. I already had the hole in the pan from a different time that I actually took the pan off because it was leaking oil around the seal. And when I did that, I also welded in this bung so that I could feed the oil from the drain of the turbo. So that was already done. And the exhaust, that was quite an intricate job, because it has an electronically controlled side exit exhaust, and it had to be I wanted it to be incorporated into the stock exhaust. So after the turbo, there's a Y, kind of a Y piece, and on that Y piece you can either go back, down, under the engine, and back into the stock silencer, so the engine actually sounds perfectly stock when it's idling. And when you want to hear some rumble, you just press a button and it opens the side exit exhaust, and it really does make a difference. It's so cool. It's kind of the party trick here. Everybody's so amazed, even though it's just such a simple system. Everybody's always so amazed on um, how much the difference in noise that makes. Um, so yeah, now it's turbo, and I'm still tuning it. We are booked to go onto the dyno pretty soon. The only thing that's missing is a boost controller, because it's only running wastegate pressure at the moment, and even on wastegate pressure, which is 5 psi, no wait, it's like 7 psi, it's 0.5 bars, so 7-8 psi, and it's quite a scary vehicle, you know, like for a car that only weighs 700 kilos. And you know, I'm only speculating here, but if the original engine had 60 horsepower and we're adding half a bar boost in it, that's nearly like, you can nearly consider it as adding, you know, like a 50% increase on the horsepower. Let's consider that for the moment. I don't know, we haven't taken on the dyno yet, as I said, but soon. And so yeah, that means it will be around 90 horsepower at half an atmosphere. So that'd be cool. That'd be cool to see exactly how much horsepower it's making. Could be less, could be more. I am running a quite conservative ignition map at the moment. I did put colder plugs in it because I did have some detonation issues when I first started using the turbo, it was not so happy, and the colder plugs helped, but started giving me a misfire under boost. So we started adding more dwell to the coils, but I'm probably gonna have to gap the plugs, gap them so they're a little bit closer, and that should fix that problem. But anyway, without further ado, let's show you guys the engine. So here it is, guys. As you can see, everything that you see underneath here is being done by me and welded by me, just as a project, like Saturday, Sunday. And it's been a hell of a learning project. I learned so much on this car, and I can't wait to do it on the next car. This ain't finished, but I'm still projecting the next one. So down there we got a max speeding rods turbo, a copy of the Garrett GT 1549S out of the BMW 320D, and specifically the flanges mount to Land Rover Freelander 2-liter diesel, turbo diesel from 1998, I believe, and that flange actually nearly fits the stock flange on the stock exhaust manifold. Anyway, I needed to move the turbo further up, so I made my own. I also made my own throttle body, so that's a 65mm throttle body. I think it came from Amazon, welded to a stock inlet manifold. I really want to change that. The fuel rail just gets some extruded, like the U channel, kind of U made with a hole at the top, extruded aluminum to make those, and that'll make it so much easier. So yeah, as I said, we got a Y. A bit difficult to show you guys, but we got a Y piece in there, and that comes out underneath here, travels along. Here's where the valve is, and then exits right there. So makes for some good flames, tell you that. So we got a water to air intercooler. I believe the dimensions are 5" by 4, or no, wait, maybe it was 6 by 4, maybe, I don't remember right now, but it was like the smallest available intercooler, water to air intercooler I can find. So that is fed by a tank that is in there, and there's a pump in there that feeds it, and there's a radiator on the side here, and that's how that circuit works. So that's pretty much that turbo Panda. So I'm gonna do a better job from now on of getting more video. I would really love your guys' support. If you like the project and you want to see it on the dyno, like, subscribe, because it's coming soon, guys.